Okay, folks, we're back. It's Wednesday. Sorry, no, it's not. Thursday. And we're back on the balcony in Kippen. And it's Coffee and Colossians again. And hello to those who are here for the first time, who've just started watching this. Again, just let me explain. I do this occasionally. What we're doing, we're going through the book of Colossians. I think this is number 88 probably that we've done. We're just going, as you can imagine, you can see we're going through it very slowly. I just have a cup of coffee, and each weekday we comment on one aspect of Colossians as we're going through it and seeing how that applies to the life that we live today. Now, it's very windy here, so I hope that's not affecting you too much. Colossians chapter 3, and we are at yesterday we looked at verse 9 and 10. Do not lie to each other, since you've taken off your old self with its practices and have put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge of its creator. Well, today, this amazing verse, here there is no Gentile or Jew, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, slave or free, but Christ is all and is in all. Now, God renews us as individuals so that we can demonstrate what He's like, particularly as a community. That is so important. One Sunday, I remember at St. Peter's in Dundee, as I stood at the door, I came in the door, and if I remember rightly, we had 4 different people on the door from 4 different continents. One Chinese, one African, one European, and I think the other may have been South American. And it was just wonderful to see that. I had a friend who was very against the church, but he said to me this. He said, "Look, David, I hate everything you teach, but I want everything you've got. We talk about diversity, you show it." Now that's what Paul's doing here. There's a list of people here in verse 11. There are particular ethnic and cultural divisions, and the church helps overcome that. I remember a friend telling me about how he was at a conference where a Croatian and a Serb who'd fought each other knelt together in prayer, and how moving that was. So who are the groups that are mentioned here? The Greeks. Well, the Greeks, they were considered to be civilized. They were cultured. Everyone else was barbarous. The nearest I can think to that is someone like Richard Dawkins, who thinks, if you're from Oxford, if you're a Western liberal, you are the civilized people, and everyone else is barbarous. The Jews were the circumcised. Everyone else is uncircumcised. The Scythians, that's very interesting. They are the northern Asians. I've just been reading Tom Holland and also Herodotus, and the Scythians come in there. And they were considered to be uncivilized and coarse. Josephus says this: they are little better than wild beasts. They were figures of fun in Greek comedy. Dare I say it? A bit like the Irish have been figures of fun in UK comedy. Or perhaps like the Highlanders were considered to be figures of fun. They were just considered to be barbarians. The Scythians. The slave and free. I think what struck me was the way that Barack Obama once said, if I remember it was him, he said, "Black, white and brown all go together to the baseball but separate for church." That for me has always been entirely wrong. I do not like the idea of ethnic churches. I know that people will justify them, and I work in a context in Sydney where it's considered a big thing to do that. But to me, there's something fundamentally unbiblical about that. I'm not saying, you are going to reach different ethnic groups, perhaps you can argue that. But it's a great apologetic for the church if we're not separated by race. And what does Paul say here? This is what I love. He says, you take all these, and then he says, but Christ is all and is in all. Christ is all and is in all. In Christ, all these kind of distinctions are gone. That's why Christianity is so beautiful. Being drawn closer to Christ means being drawn closer to his people. Christ is all that matters. He is all and in all. And I do love that aspect. I love worshipping with my Chinese brothers and sisters, my African brothers and sisters, English, Scottish, Irish. Even we were in Charleston Community Church last week, and they're in that council estate in Scotland, in Dundee. In that small church, there were people there of different backgrounds, Canadian, Chinese, Dundonian. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. We're all one in Christ Jesus. And that's just the beauty of this passage, what Paul has been teaching. Don't lie. Don't lie. Put on the new self. And when you put on the new self, you're joined to the biggest family in the world. So, we'll leave it there. God bless you. And hopefully see you. This is Thursday. And hopefully see you tomorrow on Friday. Bye.